The Kyoto Goodwill event had begun. Maki was already proving everyone wrong. No cursed energy, no inherited technique. Yet she was overwhelming students who had looked down on her for years. Then Maki came face to face with Mai. Just like the original timeline, the sisters fought. Mai raised her revolver. "You always act like you're better than me." Maki tightened her grip on her weapon. "I never wanted you dragged into this." Mai's expression hardened. "But you left me behind." Before Maki could answer, something changed. The curse user attack on the Goodwill event began earlier. The barrier dropped. Hanami entered. But this time, another powerful curse slipped through with them, and Maki and Mai were separated from everyone else. The curse attacked. Maki blocked the first strike. Crack! Her weapon shattered. Mai fired repeatedly. Bang! 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 Nothing worked. The curse rushed Maki. Mai pushed her away. Boom! Mai took the attack instead. Mai! Maki caught her as she fell. Mai's injuries were fatal. Maki desperately tried lifting her. "Come on!" "We're getting out of here." But Mai grabbed her wrist. "Stop!" Maki froze. Mai understood something Maki didn't yet know. Because they were twins. Jujutsu treated them almost like one existence. Mai's cursed energy was preventing Maki's heavenly restriction from ever becoming complete. As long as Mai remained, Maki could never reach her true potential. Mai smiled weakly. "You wanted to destroy everything, right?" Maki's eyes widened. "Mai, don't." Mai used the last of her cursed energy. Construction. A weapon slowly formed beside Maki. Mai's final creation. Maki grabbed her. "Stop!" Mai looked at her sister one last time. "Promise me something." Tears filled Maki's eyes. "What?" Mai smiled. "Destroy it all." Her hand fell, and Mai died. For 1 second, there was silence. Then Maki felt something disappear. The tiny amount of cursed energy she'd possessed vanished completely. Her heavenly restriction became complete. Her senses exploded. She could hear movements across the forest, feel changes in the air, see curses through the environment around them. Her physical strength skyrocketed. The curse that had nearly killed her suddenly looked slow. Maki stood. She picked up Mai's final weapon. The curse attacked. Maki disappeared. Slash. The curse stopped. Then its body split apart. One attack. That was all it took. Across the battlefield, Todo suddenly turned. What the hell was that? Megumi felt it too. Someone's presence had completely disappeared. Even Hanami paused. Then, boom! Something crashed into the battlefield. Maki walked through the dust. Blood covered her clothes. Mai's weapon rested in her hand. Megumi stared at her. Zenin. Maki looked toward Hanami. There were no tears anymore, only rage. Mai was gone. And years before she was ever supposed to, Maki Zenin had reached the same heavenly restriction as Toji Fushiguro. She tightened her grip on the sword. Move. Hanami turned toward her. Maki's eyes narrowed. "I'm not losing anyone else today." Hanami stared at Maki. Something was wrong. There was zero cursed energy coming from her, yet every instinct Hanami possessed screamed danger. Maki tightened her grip on the weapon Mai created, then vanished. Boom! Hanami barely raised an arm before Maki's kick launched them through the forest. Todo's eyes widened. What? Yuji stared. Since when could Maki do that? Megumi remained silent, because something about Maki's presence reminded him of the stories he'd heard about one man, Toji Fushiguro. Hanami unleashed a wave of roots. Maki didn't stop. She could read the movement of the air, the vibrations beneath her feet. Every attack felt painfully slow. She slipped between the roots, jumped, and brought Mai's weapon down. Slash! Hanami's shoulder was cut open. Hanami immediately created distance. For the first time during the entire invasion, the special grade was being forced backward, but Maki wasn't celebrating. All she could think about was Mai. Her final words repeated in Maki's head. Destroy it all. Maki disappeared again. Hanami unleashed everything. Roots exploded from every direction. Maki sprinted straight through them. Yuji and Todo saw the opening. Todo smiled. Brother Yuji grinned. Got it. Clap. Boogie Woogie activated. Maki suddenly appeared directly above Hanami. Hanami looked up. Too late. Maki slammed them into the ground. Yuji followed. Black cursed energy distorted around his fist. Black flash. Boom. The forest shook. Hanami tried retreating, but Maki landed behind them. You're not leaving. Hanami prepared another attack, when suddenly, the barrier disappeared. Gojo had entered. Hanami immediately realized the situation had become impossible. Maki in front, Yuji and Todo nearby, and Satoru Gojo above them. Hanami attempted to escape. Gojo raised his hand. Purple energy formed. Maki felt the attack coming and jumped clear. Hollow purple. The blast tore through the forest. When the dust settled, Hanami had barely escaped, heavily wounded. But Gojo wasn't looking at Hanami. He was staring at Maki. His 6 eyes confirmed it. Nothing, not even the tiny amount of cursed energy she'd possessed before. Gojo's usual smile disappeared. Maki. She looked at him. Gojo understood immediately. Complete heavenly restriction. The same phenomenon he'd encountered years ago. Maki walked past him. Gojo quietly asked, "Where's Mai?" Maki stopped. Silence. That was enough. Gojo's expression changed. Maki tightened her grip on Mai's final weapon. She died saving me. Nobody spoke. Then Maki continued walking, because the goodwill event had changed far more than anyone realized. Mai's death had created something the Zenin clan had feared for generations. And now, Maki was going home, not to celebrate her awakening, not to prove herself, but to confront the family that had made both sisters' lives miserable. And unlike the original timeline, the Zenin clan had no idea that a fully awakened Maki was coming years early. Mai's funeral was quiet. Maki stood beside her sister's grave without saying a word. Mai's final weapon rested against her shoulder, but there was one thing Maki couldn't forget: destroy it all. So, after the funeral, Maki went directly to the Zenin estate. The moment she entered, the clan noticed something was wrong. They couldn't sense her. Not even slightly. Naoya stepped forward. Well, look who came crawling. Maki disappeared. Boom! Naoya crashed through a wall before he could finish. Maki lowered her fist. Not today. Naoya climbed from the rubble, furious. Projection sorcery activated. He accelerated, but Maki's new senses followed his movements. Naoya appeared behind her. Maki turned. Bam! One punch sent him across the courtyard. Naoya's eyes widened. What the hell happened to you? Maki looked at Mai's weapon. My sister died. Silence. And I'm done letting this family decide our lives. The haze surrounded her. Dozens of the Zenin clan's strongest fighters attacked at once. But this wasn't the Maki they remembered. She moved like a ghost. No cursed energy. No hesitation. Pure physical ability. Weapons shattered. Walls collapsed. Sorcerers hit the ground one after another. Maki didn't need a domain. She didn't need an inherited technique. Her body was the weapon. Then Jinichi entered. More Zenin fighters surrounded Maki. But before the battle could continue, enough. Everyone stopped. Megumi walked into the courtyard. Maki looked surprised. Why are you here? Megumi stared at the Zenin members surrounding her. To stop you from doing something you'll regret. Maki's expression hardened. They made Mai's life hell. I know. They treated us like garbage. I know. Maki tightened her grip. Then move. Megumi didn't. Mai told you to destroy everything. Maki froze. Megumi continued. But I don't think she meant you should destroy yourself too. For several seconds, Maki said nothing. Then Naoya attacked from behind. Megumi noticed. Maki? But Maki had already moved. She caught Naoya's fist. Crack. Naoya dropped to his knees. Maki looked down at him. You're done. Instead of killing him, she threw him aside. Then she looked across the Zenin estate. You wanted to know if someone without cursed energy could stand above you. Maki planted Mai's weapon into the ground. Now you know. Maki didn't massacre the clan. Instead, she broke its power. Their weapons were taken, their strongest fighters were defeated, and their influence over Maki's life ended that day. Megumi walked beside her as she left. So what now? Maki looked back at the estate one final time. Now I become strong enough that what happened to Mai? She tightened her fist. Never happens to anyone else. But Maki didn't realize how much her early awakening had changed the future, because Shibuya was approaching. And when Kenjaku's plan finally began, the sorcerers wouldn't be entering Shibuya with the Maki from the original timeline. They would be entering with a fighter who had already spent months mastering a body comparable to Toji Fushiguro. Months passed. Maki mastered her fully realized heavenly restriction, her speed, her senses, her strength. By the time October 31st arrived, Maki was no longer simply grade 1 level. She had become one of Jujutsu High's most dangerous fighters. Then, Shibuya began. Gojo entered the station alone, the prison realm activated, and despite everything Maki's awakening had changed, Gojo was still sealed. But what happened afterward was completely different. Maki entered Shibuya alongside Hanami and Naobito. Then they encountered Dagon. Dagon opened his domain. Horizon of the captivating Skanda. Endless Shikigami attacked. Hanami struggled. Naobito fought desperately. But Maki, something was different. Dagon couldn't properly target her with his domain's sure hit. Maki had zero cursed energy. Dagon stared at her. "What are you?" Maki disappeared. Boom! Her fist buried itself in Dagon's face. Before Dagon could recover, Maki drew Mai's weapon. Slash! Dagon crashed across the domain. Nanami stared. Maki. She didn't stop. Attack after attack overwhelmed Dagon. Then Megumi entered and disrupted the domain. The moment his opening appeared, Maki attacked. One final strike tore through Dagon. Dagon was exorcised, and because the fight ended much faster, Naobito and Nanami weren't left nearly as injured. That changed everything. Jogo never got the same opportunity to burn all three of them. Nanami remained capable of fighting. Maki wasn't critically injured, and when Mahito eventually hunted Yuji, Yuji wasn't alone for long. Nanami arrived, then Todo, and finally, Maki. Mahito looked around. Yuji in front of him, Todo beside him, Nanami still standing, and Maki approaching with zero cursed energy. Mahito's smile disappeared. This seems unfair. Maki tightened her grip on Mai's weapon. Good. The battle didn't last long. Todo created openings. Nanami pressured Mahito. Yuji attacked his soul, and Maki's overwhelming physical attacks gave Mahito almost no time to reshape himself. Yuji eventually landed. Black flash. Mahito crashed into the ground. Before Kenjaku could arrive and absorb him, Yuji finished the fight. Mahito was exorcised. Kenjaku had lost idol transfiguration. His plan for the culling game had taken a massive blow. Gojo was still sealed, but the disaster Kenjaku expected after Shibuya never fully happened. Later, Maki stood alone overlooking the damaged city. She held Mai's weapon in her hand. Yuji approached. "You okay?" Maki remained silent for a moment. Then she looked at the weapon. I wish she could have seen this. Yuji understood. Maki had gained everything she'd once wanted. Strength, freedom, recognition. But the price had been her sister. Maki looked toward Jujutsu High. She couldn't change what happened to Mai, but she could decide what Mai's sacrifice meant. The Zenin clan no longer controlled her, and now the Jujutsu world had something it never expected so early. A fully awakened Maki Zenin, a sorcerer killer with zero cursed energy, who would be waiting when Kenjaku made his next move.